It's Hare Krishna. It's something at your end, Mother Pramadatri, because I'm connected on YouTube and I'm connected here, and I can hear him all right, and I can say him.
Okay, you want to start the class? We can hear you.
So you can hear her. You cannot hear me.
We can hear you faintly. I don't know if you got something wrong here.
Kanapriya, I would suggest you start because I can hear you all right on YouTube. It must be some audio on the temple side.
Okay. You are muted, but still your sound is coming. I don't know how. Could you unmute?
Do you want to host, Mataji?
I can't host because you're already connected.
Do
So
you mean to just sign out?
no. Okay, just make me a co-host.
I'm not even there anymore.
Yeah, that's actually we're in the wrong side.
Okay, now I've got you back. Okay.
So on the screen that you are, you
I
can just
can, Now can Kanapriya speak now? See if he's any
Hare
better.
Krishna, can you hear me?
We can hear you very faint, but anyways, let's see where do you want me to share, give you the co-host? Where do I go to give you the co-host?
you have to get my go to my icon and just look or
Okay, got it.
look to the participants.
Got it.
Okay.
Hide non-video, make a co-host, okay? Confirm. There you go.
Priya, you can go on.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I have to start.
Please.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Udiret Shinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantastoya Bhadrani Vidanati Suhritsatam Nashtaprayashu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 29, Verse 13. Shri Shukuvacha Uktam Purasta Detatte Chaidya Siddhim Yathagata Dushannapi Rishikesham Kim Utadhoksha Priya. Synonyms. Sri Shukuvacha, Sukadeva Goswami said, Uktam, spoken, Parastat, previously, Etat, this, Te, to you, Chaidya, the king of Chedi Shishupal, Siddhim, perfection, Yatha, as, Gata, he attained, Dushan, hating, Api, even, Rishikesham, Supreme Lord Rishikesha, Kim Utta, what to speak then, Adhokshaja, to the transcendental Lord who lies beyond the purview of ordinary senses, Priyaha, of those devotees who are very dear. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, this point was explained to you previously, since even Shishupal, who hated Krishna, achieved perfection, then what to speak of the Lord's dear devotees? Purport by disciples of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Although the spiritual nature of conditioned souls may be covered by illusion, Lord Krishna's spiritual nature is omnipotent and is never covered by any other power. In fact, all other powers are His energy and thus function according to His will. The Brahma Samhita states, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhan Shakti Rek Chaye Vayasya Bhavanani Vivarti Durga Ichhana Rupam Apiyasya Cheshtatesha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The mighty Durga, who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material worlds, is the potency of the Supreme Lord, and she moves like His shadow according to His desire. Thus, because the Lord's spiritual influence does not depend on whether someone understands Him or not, the gopis' spontaneous love for Krishna guaranteed their spiritual perfection. The great Madhavacharya quotes the following relevant passages from the Skanda Purana. Krishna kamas tada gopyas tyaktva deham divam gata samyak krishnam parabrahma yatva kalat param yayu. At that time, the gopis who desired Krishna gave up their bodies and went to the spiritual world because they properly understood Krishna to be the supreme absolute truth. They transcended the influence of time. Purvam cha jnana samyuktas tatrapi prayasas tatha atas tasam param brahma gatir asina na kamata. In their previous lives, most of the gopis were already fully endowed with transcendental knowledge. It is because of this knowledge, not their lust, that they were able to attain the supreme Brahma. Natu jnanam rite moksho nanya pantheti hi shruti kama yukta tada bhaktir jnanam chato vimuktiga. The Vedas declare that without spiritual knowledge, there is no valid path to liberation, because these apparently lusty gopis possessed devotion and knowledge. They achieved liberation. Ato mokshe pitasam cha kamo bhaktyanu vartate mukti sabdo dito chedya prabhrito dvesha bhagina. Thus, even in their attainment of liberation, lust followed as a manifestation of their pure devotion. After all, what we call liberation was experienced even by envious persons like Shishupal. Bhakti margi prithan muktim agad Vishnu prasadata kamastva ashubha krichapi bhaktaya Vishnu prasadakrit. By the mercy of Lord Vishnu, one who follows the path of devotional service gains liberation as a byproduct, and such a person's lusty desire, which would normally invoke misfortune, instead invokes the mercy of Vishnu when exhibited in pure devotion. Dveshi jiva yutam chapi bhaktam Vishnur vimochayet ahoti karuna Vishnu Shishupalasya mokshanat. Lord Vishnu will save even a devotee possessed of an envious life. Just see the extremely mercy of the Lord as shown by His granting liberation to Shishupal. Shishupal was Lord Krishna's cousin. He was mortified when the Lord stole the gorgeous young Rukmini, whom Shishupal himself was hell-bent on marrying. For various other reasons also, Shishupal was consumed with envy of Lord Krishna, and finally he insanely offended him in a great assembly called the Rajasuya sacrifice. At that time, Krishna nonchalantly cut off Shishupal's head and gave him liberation. Everyone present saw the effulgent soul of the Shishupal rise out of his dead body and emerge into the existence of the Lord. The seventh canto explains that Shishupal was an incarnation of a gatekeeper in the spiritual world, cursed to take birth on the earth as a demon. Since even Shishupal was liberated by the Lord, who took into consideration the whole situation, then what to speak of the gopis, who loved Krishna more than anything? End of purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Advaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So here Sukadeva Goswami is answering Parikshit Maharaj, who questioned him thus in the previous verse, that the gopis knew Krishna only as their lover, not as the supreme absolute truth. So how could these girls, their minds caught up in the waves of the modes of nature, free themselves from material attachment? So this was the question that Parikshit Maharaj had asked. So King Parikshit actually knew the answers, but he was asking for the benefit of all the other people who were looking a little bit confused, and they wanted the answers for this question. So Maharaj, out of mercy for all those people, presented this question as if he is asking himself for this to eliminate that doubt through Sukadeva Goswami. So gopis, as we know, they loved Krishna without having the knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that love was directed so that it did not take into consideration their own family life, their own activities, their deeds, every single thing. That as soon as Krishna would blow the flute, they would forget everything. Somewhere it is mentioned also in Bhagavatam that their belts will loosen up out of lusty desires for enjoying with Krishna. But those lusty desire that was granted to them was a result of their tapasya in their previous lives. Because, as mentioned here by Madhavacharya from the Skanda Purana, that they were all very highly educated and had read all of those in their previous lives. So in this life, even though they are simple maids, milkmaids, but they had that from the previous lives reactions. They had that strong attraction for Krishna without knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. Each one would think that Krishna is only for her. However, there were so many of them. And Krishna always present in their presence would divide himself each between two gopis when he was conducting the rasa dance. This is something that only Krishna can do. Since he expanded himself into 16,108 forms, who he married. So, what is the difficulty for him? To please his gopi friends, who are all exalted devotees. And some of the gopis who were physically restrained by their husbands or their relatives from participating in the rasa, as they were getting ready to go, they ended up leaving their bodies and united with him in spirit. So, because their feeling of separation was so intense, as mentioned there, that they end up dropping their body. Our Parikshit Maharaj's question focuses on how did they get the liberation? Because they were not even thinking of him as a Supreme Lord. So, in this connection, we have the example from Srimad Bhagavatam itself about the story of Ajamil. At the time of his death, in desperation, he was calling out to his son, Narayan. And the Vishnudutas come and chase away the Yamadutas. And then he is given another chance to rectify and complete his sadhana so he could go back to Godhead, which compels him to give up all the bad habits that he had, and he again becomes, because he was a Brahmana, he had fallen for some reason, but now he again regains his consciousness and goes back home, back to Godhead. So, we understand that Krishna, the name itself, whether the gopis were addressing him as Krishna, but they were thinking at least of him in their heart, with pure heart, without duplicity. And their love was so intense that they cared only for Krishna's pleasure, whether that aroused, lusty feelings in them or not. But Krishna desired that he wants to have enjoyment with the gopis. So the gopis are ready to give everything because Krishna desired, Krishna wants pleasure. Just like they gave their dust off their feet for making sure that Krishna's headache is gone. they do not even care whether they go to hell. But anything and everything, Krishna must, just like the cows. Nanda Maharaj's cows, they trampled over all the stones because Krishna was supposed to go take them for Gocharan. And when the cows came to know, and Krishna was going to go barefoot. When they came to know that there are so many pebbles, stones, chips, everything, thorns, everything on the way to the Vrindavan forest, they trampled over those stones and the thorns and everything to make the path smooth so Krishna's lotus feet do not get affected. And the earth itself, made the environment so pleasant for Krishna. Wherever Krishna would step, earth would make that spot sweet, compatible for Krishna's use. So we also know that there are some footprints of Krishna in Vrindavan still preserved. So these gopis, their love is so intense, and and we are talking about doubt, Parishit Maharaj, although he knew about the exalted position of the gopis, but for eliminating the doubts of the fellow devotees who were sitting in the assembly listening to the Srimad Bhagavatam Katha, which is being spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. So on their behalf, he had asked this question. So they are ever liberated, and more and more and more, because the goal for a devotee is to render service, loving devotional service to Krishna. And if we are not perfect, we get chance in the next life also. However, this loving service has to be with a bhava, with the emotions all directed towards Krishna. And based on the love and devotion that each one has in any particular mellow, one gets a chance to associate with Krishna after attaining perfection in this life and reviving their original constitutional position, original spiritual body, that's called Swarup Siddhi, and engaging in. And we being part and parcel of Krishna, everything is part and parcel of Krishna, this entire cosmos, everything that is, and that is controlled by Krishna only. However, it is our job to understand that for some reason or for some crooked reason that arose in our heart to enjoy separate from Krishna, and we were given this facility, which is also belonging to Krishna. So, just like the process, devotional service becomes the process of reformation in a prison house. So we are trying to reform ourselves so that we can be back to where we belong actually. We don't belong in this prison house called material world, where we are trying to enjoy through these gross senses. Senses are polluted, we are polluted, consciousness is polluted, everything, and we are trying to enjoy and we get frustrated. And again, Krishna from within the heart inspires us that give up, you rascal, you have had enough. Take to the right path. He even sends Mahatmas our way. He even sends Guru our way. And those who become inclined and turn towards Krishna, turn around and change their thinking towards Krishna, give up this enjoying spirit and serve Krishna and try to purify their existence, their senses, and with purified senses serve Krishna, then it is guaranteed that we will be able to attain our Swarup Siddhi and go back in our original spiritual bodies to serve the Lord in the spiritual realm. So there is a lot more that can be spoken about the process and lot many queries, questions, doubts that can be eliminated, but with a simple heart, if one accepts the words spoken by the acharyas, previous acharyas, gurus, and the guru in this life, that is sufficient in itself to transcend this material nature, to delist ourselves from this material world and go back home to engage in loving service to the Lord. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. If there are any questions, comments, please feel free to address. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful day.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Kanaka Prabhu. I don't think there are questions from the temple, so I'm going to end the session now.
Okay.
Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna. Actually, Mother Madre, I'm co-host, so I can leave the session, but I cannot end it. You will have to edit at yourself at your end, please.